Hi, Kahn. My name's Daphne. Thank you for sending in your essay for correction. Great to hear from you, and really good idea to get some feedback on your writing and your work before you do your exam. Tell me your IELTS story. Have you done it before? Why are you taking it? What are you hoping to score? Okay, so your essay you've chosen, some people say that arts subjects such as painting or drawing should not be made compulsory for high school students. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, many people claim that art subjects should not be an integral part of the high school curriculum. Okay, very nice. I like this integral part is great. I would say a high school curriculum. But here, art subjects, maybe you can say this in a different way because it's quite important not to use the same words as the examiner uses. So here you've got art subjects there and art subjects here. You need to paraphrase. So you've done it here. Integral part is great, but you need to do it here as well. So that you should have, you could have lessons focused on art, drama. I mean, I think it's everything in the arts, isn't it? Drama, or what else could we say? Or life, maybe life draw, art, drama, or yeah, I'm just going to life drawing for the moment. Or maybe photography. Just thinking quickly here. Should not be an integral part. Okay. While it's true that such classes can have several negative impacts, now rather than can, I love these modal verbs could, may, or might. So every time you're going to write can, think about having one of these instead. It adds a degree of more academic writing to your writing, and it distances you. You can't prove that statement. You can't prove that. But with this, you have stepped away. So it's more professional. So you could have several negative impacts, including what? Because that's a huge thing to say. You need to give the examiner an idea where you're going here. I disagree with the idea that arts education should not be obligatory. Good. Okay, fine. Yeah, you could develop that a little bit more, but you know, because something. But I know you're going to do that in a minute, but you could indicate a little bit more here. And then you need to introduce your essay. So this essay will discuss these key issues using examples from. And then in the essay, you're going to have real examples. Okay? Right, so that's going to be that intro. To begin with, there are a number of disadvantages of arts lessons. Firstly, so try and get some adjectives in here. This helps your language. A number of important, or relevant, or significant. So by using adjectives, you are building your lexics, so that helps you on the lexical achievement element of the exam, and you're also going to score a higher mark for your task response because these adjectives help you develop your response to that question. Firstly, since not every child has an interest in learning art, teaching this subject to them, again, could be a waste of time and money. All right, good, okay. For example, during art classes, some students might not pay attention to the teacher, and here I would say get distracted is okay, but I would say become easily, so the adverb in there, easily distracted, thereby hardly gaining any new knowledge. Good point, absolutely. Secondly, due to the unequal levels of artistic ability, absolutely, those with no talent, I would go less talent maybe. Is a little bit kinder, but doesn't matter. In art, again, may feel embarrassed or could feel embarrassed if they have to perform in front of a crowd. Okay, yes, I mean, so that would be in terms of a drama class. So why don't we specifically artistic ability, artistic or theatrical? It's a great point you're making here. Ability. There's a less talent in art or drama classes. Let's widen this out. Could feel embarrassed if they had to perform in front of a crowd. Good. So let's go in turn. This might undermine their confidence and instill them with a sense of inhibition, okay, which may impact on their mental health and confidence, mental health and self-assurance. Okay, that's a really nice paragraph, very good. What we recommend as well is that you have an example, a real example. So you've had, for example, so you could have, for instance, there. So for example, recent studies in, where should we go? India have shown that children who felt uncomfortable, or children who felt uncomfortable having to perform at school were less confident when job hunting, or were less successful in careers or presentations or something like that. Make up an example, but an example that is relevant to what you've said here. Okay, I would always recommend using an example from where you are in the world. I think that's more realistic. You can say a recent study, you can say a newspaper article. This is something that we go into on the course that we do for these IELTS writing. Adding an example makes your writing academic. Okay? However, then I wouldn't put your opinion in here until the end. So I would save your opinion right up until that final paragraph, to your conclusion, literally. Okay. So keep this professional writing. However, so you could say many teachers and child experts argue that impersonal art lessons should be a compulsory part of the school curriculum. Okay. Firstly, you've got compulsory, which is fine, but you could have a core and inclusive, because that would cover this idea of compulsory without repeating compulsory. Part of the school curriculum. First, okay, in painting or drawing, children can learn to express themselves and their interpretations of the world in a creative way. Really nice. For example, while being given a drawing of a house, no two students will come up with the same painting with identical colours or shapes. Good. As a result, you may be able to think up innovative ideas and deal with problems more flexibly. Good. Secondly, art classes could serve, or usually serve, as a form of recreational activity. Join this together, allowing, so get into a more complex sentence so we can show a bit more grammar in here, allowing children to maintain the balance between studies and play. For instance, singing. Or now, I'm just a bit cautious about you using for instance here and for example, because I sort of want that when we're going to give our real example here. So you could say here, it is thought that singing is a way for youngsters to relax and relieve stress, brought on. Good, really nice. And then you could have here, for example, and I don't want to make it too long, but you could add a small example there. Okay, that's a very nice paragraph, really good writing, very clear, it's doing really well. Now here in conclusion, there I would put your opinion. Okay, so I would argue that, or I strongly believe that, while the potential drawbacks of classes, now not for everybody, for some less, I don't want to use the word talented, but less creative, maybe, and more cautious students are undeniable. So you must be specific, I think, here in the kind of people where this might be damaging for. I believe students should be forced to learn. Forced is very strong. I mean, you could have that, but I would go encouraged and motivated. I think would be better. to learn them at high school. Okay, really nice. Great essay there. You've done really, really well. A few suggestions, which I hope you will find helpful there, really on just the structure of the paragraphs, which is absolutely fine, but I think it's quite nice in an academic essay to have a real example, like we've tried to add in here. I think that is one of the things that the examiner is looking for. The paragraph structure is nice. You've done well there. You've got your opinion in that final paragraph and at the beginning. Just here, give me a little bit more idea about where you're going, okay, on that intro. I think what you could include, as we've looked at today, a little bit more on the lexis and a little bit more on the grammar. Your grammar is absolutely fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but you could show maybe more variety in tenses, maybe show a conditional sentence, maybe show some passive voice in there, just to make sure you score highly on the grammar. Okay, let's just have a little look at the chart. Shows the percentage of households owned and rented in accommodation, between 1918, wow, and 2011. That's a massive difference there, and there's some quite clear trends coming up here. So you're going to be using dynamic language to describe these changes over time. Okay, quick look, we've got percentage of households, we've got the years, we've got owned and rented. So the given chart, you should say bar chart, because it is a bar chart, so show you know what it is. Illustrates the proportion of families who owned and rented accommodation in England and Wales. Okay, now watch out here because you need to paraphrase this. So you've used the words from the question, okay? To get more points, you need to be showing a different way of saying this. So the bar chart illustrates the number of, you said families actually, haven't you? Okay, all right. Who owned and rented. Okay, so maybe so change this. So that's okay. Proportion of families, that's lovely then, sorry. Who purchased their own, okay, or paid a landlord for accommodation in England and Wales, or in 2 countries of the UK, something like that. I mean, over, what is it, a 90-year period, something like that. Overall, renting accommodation became a less popular choice over time, whereas the percentage of households settling into their own homes rose during the period. Lovely, great sentence. In 1918, the rate of families, so it's not the rate really, it is actually the number. So you could have the percentage, or you could have proportion, or quantity. Of families in rented accommodation was approximately 75% compared to nearly 25% of those owning their private living space. Really nice. During the first half of the period, while there was a gradual drop in the former, the latter experienced a dramatic increase. Let's go rising to, let's get some detail in here. In 1971, both figures were similar, half living it and half living it rented accommodation. Okay, nice. So it's okay. Here you don't want the number detail, but here it's quite important to get some numbers in there. As much as you can see the details there, then include them. Okay, half from rented accommodation. From that time onwards, the proportion of tenants decreased remarkably to the lowest point of over 30% in 2001. Slightly grew, okay, grew slightly, just get that adverb the other way around, to 35% in the final year. Meanwhile, the figure of house owners reached a peak of nearly 70% when, with a year, before slowly declining to 65% in 2001. Okay, you've done a very, very good answer there. That is super clear. You've got a lot of information to deal with in that one, but I think you've done that really, really well. The only thing I think you could just add, I think you've talked nicely about the trend. You could possibly add another sentence here, how the trend crossed, so that peak year, 71. You could mention something about that there, just in that overall sentence. And here, maybe just get me a few more numbers in here. So, but your contrasting vocabulary is really, really nice. And your use of dynamic language is extremely good. So that's what we're looking for. Good response to that. Well done. If you want some more help and more practice before your exam, have a look at the courses that we offer. We go from the 12 sentence guide essay writing, which is really, really good, essay writing course, the full course, or you can buy a pack of 9 essay corrections, which would be like this, and we can work together on those just to give you as much practice as possible and feedback to help you improve. Well done, thank you.